What's up, guys? We are back with another, well, not Legions review, I suppose. We're taking a look at the PowerCon exclusive version of Demistros, which is not a Legions figure, they say, but he's made up of Legions parts, and we're going to get a regular one down the road. But this is the PowerCon show exclusive version with the translucent green parts, and he does have exclusive packaging. The box is similar in style to like the Sir Gerard package we got a while back from Legions Con, and he's there in the window. You've got the PowerCon logo on the bottom. You've got his name. One spine gives you a product shot of the regular head sculpt, as well as sort of a write-up of why this guy exists. And then the other spine just sort of gives you a little bit of more of that ethereal artwork. And then the back of the box gives you a big shot of the exclusive parts, as well as our PowerCon logo and info. So yeah, something definitely a little bit different in terms of, you know, anything Legions related we've gotten. But I am very excited about this guy, just based on the fact that he has like my favorite head sculpt from Legions in general. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our totally not Mythic Legions Demistros figure. Of course, this is the PowerCon exclusive variant that came in PowerCon exclusive packaging. There is no mention of Mythic Legions anywhere on the box. It's just a figure for the sake of having a figure that also happens to be made up of entirely Mythic Legions parts. Now, that said, this is a pretty rad figure, and there is a lot going on with this guy. It is still a very normal Mythic Legions figure, for lack of a better way to describe it. It's 1.0 stuff. It's full of parts that you've likely already seen before, stuff you've already got. But a lot of it, well, all of it is really done up in a new way, and there's some stuff here that's really never been done before when it comes to the figure, how he's put together, things like that. So let's see what he can do, see how he moves around. The head is the one area on this figure that I am most, I'm not like concerned by it, I'm annoyed by it. Because despite how cool this looks, it just doesn't move. Like, he really just doesn't really move at all. So you've got some up to get him up out of that gorget, but this head is so big for this gorget, it's just too tight for my liking. It looks awesome. You know, don't get me wrong, I think it looks incredibly cool. But he's really, really locked in there. You can move his head, but you're really pushing it. Like, you're going to start to, you know, bend things, really, when you do that. So watch what you're doing. Likely not something I really need to say. You've got a little tilt. I mean, you can get his head to go about that far. That's about it. He can't really look down, and he's got like these sort of, I don't know, they're not tusks, but they're horns or something that stick out of his chin, because this is the Belphegor head. So it's just sort of like poking against that gorget. So it's a nuisance for me, but it sure looks good. Arms go out at the shoulders, and I've already got the pauldrons on him because he's got a cape. They, of course, rotate. We've got our single jointed swiveling elbow. You've got gauntlet swivel. We got swivel and hinge at the wrist. 1.0 torso, so he goes backwards a bit, forwards a little bit. Not a lot of tilt on this one, but you do have your rotation still, of course. Legs go out all the way. There's a whole bunch of stuff at the hips on this one, so he still has good range there no matter what. And then you've got kick forward, and you've got a little bit backward. You got your thigh twist, of course. We got our single jointed 90-degree swiveling knee. And then you've got rotation at the top of the ankle. You've got your rocker. And you've still got your hinges. So he is, I mean, he's exactly what you think he is. The only area that is, you know, sort of odd on him is the head, the neck region, just based on the parts that he's got. It is limited. There's no way around it. But it looks infinitely cooler than any of my concerns, really, when it comes to how he can move there. He looks good, so I'm not too upset about it. It is just something to sort of point out. There's a lot of cranium crammed in to that gorget area around the neck. Really, though, this figure is all about the looks. And I know I say that a lot, but there's a couple major reasons why this figure, in this release, in this configuration, is all about the looks. The first thing is, of course, that he has con-specific parts. And they're just, you know, they're not a repaint, they're re-injection. I don't know the best way to describe that. They're just a different color. So we've got translucent hands, and we've got a translucent head. We do get the regular parts, and we'll look at those here shortly. So you've got those. That's obviously one of the major reasons to get this guy, is this particular look, this visual you're seeing right here. This is the con look for Demistros. The other big reason is that he has a cape. And the cape was a big, big thing for this figure. A lot of figures did not get the capes packed in on time, and a lot of people who weren't at the convention who got non-attendee figures did not receive theirs. I was at PowerCon so I was able to get my cape without an issue. So you'll be able to see what your cape looks like now. The cape is also something a little bit different. It's still a very current Legion style cape. It just has one major difference in terms of how it connects. Now, all that said and done, this figure beyond those capes is all reused. Everything here is reused. There is no new parts on this figure. So he's got the pauldrons. You know, we've got the pauldrons that we've seen starting with the Alithia wave, those ones that were used to look like leather in many ways. We've got a Magnus torso. We've got some of the older, like Dark Knight style of arms and legs. You know, stuff you saw on Arethyr, just as an example. The belt is old. We've got one of the newer style belts here, but it's still not a unique piece to him. The crotch piece is, I believe, Arethyr's crotch piece, and I don't think that's been used on any other figure. And then we've also got the Baron Volgar 2 Gorget, which, you know, again, it doesn't have a lot of real estate to put a big head in there, but it certainly looks awesome. And then we have my favorite head sculpt in the entire line. We have Belphegor's head sculpt here, which I think is just awesome. I will go so far as to say that I think the regular version of this head, the other version in this box, is cooler than this one, but I'm a sucker for translucent stuff, so here we are. And then we have some of the style posy kind of hands that we've been seeing, you know, over the past few years that are also done up in this translucent look. His other big thing is the fact that he does have a very unique color scheme. So he's got a pretty big mishmash of parts from various eras of Legions, but it's all done up in this it's very purposeful in terms of how this paint has been done. I kind of thought it was kind of like Ilgar's for a while, but his is very random in many ways with that patina. Demistros is 100% fully patinaed from top to bottom, and I think it looks awesome. I'm really, really happy with this. It maybe seems like a less detailed paint job, but it really highlights all of the detail in this sculpt because it's essentially a wash, dry brush type of application, but it highlights all of that little pitted, pocked detail that's in all of the Legion sculpt, all of that inlay detail on things like, you know, the side armor, you've got things in the thighs, things like that, the chainmail on the arms. So even though it's not like, you know, intentful pieces of you know, paint applications, it's stuff that really highlights all of those smaller details. So I really like that. He does have some other, you know, more purposeful paint applications like the straps up here. You've got gold on these. The little spine, the bat spine thing on the back of this Gorget is also done up in a nice gold color as well. And there's also, take the head off, you can see like it's like cushioned red inside there. It's a very plush Gorget inside this, inside that piece of armor. So I do really, really like this paint scheme because it highlights just how awesome this sculpt work is. And we already know that, but it's nice to see it. He does again have the cape situation, and he has two pieces. So you've got a skirt piece, and it's wired, and it sits between the torso and the legs. It's wired. It's got some holes in it. Looks really good. It's just solid black, and it can get up and out of its own way pretty well. And then you also have this cape, which is purple on the inside and black on the outside. And I will say my one, it's maybe a complaint, kind of just more of a criticism than anything else. I feel like this cape, and you know, this may be their intent to have done this. This cape, the wire in it, is really not all that great. Like, it doesn't hold the cape all the way up, so you're going to have to play with it. Like, it's not going to be able to hold itself up just because you happen to bend that wire. Maybe it's not meant to be like that, I'm not sure, but it doesn't really do that. What it does do, however, is connect in a different way. So this actually has the straps. You know, Mythic Legions, or not Mythic Legions, have had the straps as part of the accessories forever, and I've got a billion of them. He integrates these straps into the cape. You do get some as well, but if you don't want to use them, you've got this. So you've got two leathery kind of straps that will crisscross across the chest, and they kind of frame that Gorget as well, but then they Velcro together on the back here. So you can do that as a way to connect the cape, and then of course you've also got the pauldrons to cinch them there. So if you don't want to use those, you can kind of figure out a way to hide them and get rid of them and use the pauldron style. But I really, really like this look, and I'm saying that as someone who doesn't really ever use the straps. I like these because they look like leather, and they look like they've been sewn. So well, they have been sewn, but it looks really good. I'm very happy with that, and it just adds a little bit of a change in color and texture on this guy just to break him up a bit. So it's not more of that patina, it's this nice rich brown. So while I do have maybe a little bit of a gripe on that, I wish the wire was better on this, I do really like this, so it kind of outweighs it. And then, of course, we do have the star of the show here, my favorite head sculpt in the line. We've got our Belphegor head, and it is done up in this very Jolly Rancher translucent green color, like the hands. So, the hands and the head go together to make him look like some sort of ephemeral type of spirit guy. But I love this head sculpt. There's a little bit of a wash on there to bring out some of that detail, but you've got those, the big horns that come out. He's got the, whatever you want to call them, the spikes that come out of the front of the face that do lock him into that gorget a little bit. But he's a big demon skull guy, and I love demons in this line, and I love skeletons in this line. So this absolutely works for me. It's a tremendous head sculpt in general, but it looks really cool this way. And then, of course, we do have another one to talk about here shortly. But there is so much going on with this figure, despite the fact that there is a lot of reuse. So, an overwhelming amount of reuse with this figure. It's all done in a different and exciting way to make me get excited again about pieces that I have seen for, in many cases, years now. So I love the fact that they can do that. This head sculpt, this combination of parts, really nice set of soft goods. The straps, all of this. It's a really cool looking figure, and translucent plastic, you got me right out the gate. Now, as far as accessories goes, Demistros has a pretty solid spread here, and some of that is, of course, due to the fact that this is the con version. So he has extra stuff to compensate for the fact that it is an exclusive. So we get the green translucent head and hands, and this is presumably our standard configuration. So we have swapped out the head and swapped out the hands. So this is our Belphegor head sculpt, but done up as a skeleton. And dare I say, this might be my favorite version of this head sculpt. So, here is our green translucent again. And this is our standard Belphegor head sculpt. So it's done up, of course, it's red with bluish purple highlights and all of that skeletal detail. But I think it looks really, really good as actual bone color. And there's tons of wash to pull out all of that sculpted detail, all this pitted, cracked detail. And then he's got these bright green eyes also. So I really, really like what they did with this one. And, this might be just my preferred head sculpt in general for him. But I really love this sculpt. Just give me it in every color, basically, and I would buy it. We do get some extra hands. So he has the sort of style posy, spell casty type of hands on him in the box. In the green translucent, we get some armored hands that match the armor. So they just make it flow a little bit better. I did mention that we have the standard straps as well. So if you don't want to do them like this and you want the standard straps, you've got the option, or add them to your ever-growing pile. And then we get some actual weaponry as well. And these are all done up with paint accents to match his armor a little bit. So there's a little bit of that patina sort of all over this. So you get the flail with the real chain, which we've seen all of this before. None of this is new. We get this big lance, style blade. It's got pitted, cracked detail all over that blade, and that's where the patina is going to lie on this. And then we also get this big, sort of like demonic sword with a ton of that patina all over it as well. But then it's also got painted runes that will match the bright green of his eyes. That's important, is to match your weapons. So I'm really happy that they pulled the green out of there and put it on his weapon, because why not? You got to be fashionable no matter what you're doing. So I really, really like this spread of accessories. Some of this stuff is like some of my favorite weapons in general. Like, really, if you ask me what some of my favorite stuff is, it's going to be a number of these. And then we also get what is arguably now my favorite head sculpt in all of Mythic, not Mythic, whatever we want to call it. This is rad. Just end of story. It's a really, really good head sculpt. A lot of cool stuff here. You've got two really, really cool versions to pull from, whether you use that translucent or the bonehead. So yeah, overall, Demistros is a winner, and I really don't care if you go with the skeletal head, the translucent head, whatever version you end up using or getting, this guy is a rock-solid figure, whether he is a quote-unquote Mythic Legions character figure, whatever the hell we're talking about, or not. This combination of parts in this color scheme with these soft goods, with the translucent head, with the skeletal head, it all works, and it just highlights again what I like to see in a convention exclusive. This is stuff that I already have. It's all stuff I already have except for the cape and the skirt piece, but you did it in a different color scheme with different paint applications. You made some stuff translucent, and you made, parts from one of my favorite figures in the entire line into something even cooler. I almost like that skeletal head better than the regular Belphegor head. So they absolutely just knocked this one out of the park. So that's going to do it for this look at the Totally Not Mythic Legions PowerCon exclusive Demistros. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.